The following is for entertainment purposes only. We are not financial advisors. We are not responsible for any losses, only the profits.
What's happening, Octo family? Can we use math to simply just figure out what stocks to buy? It should be math, right? If everyone's running on emotion and a tiny bit of math, can't we just use math to see and follow where they're at? Why shouldn't we be able to? The value investors, we've talked about this. The value investors, they're going to look at stuff like Mr. Everest Capital on StockTwits. He made this fantastic sheet here talking about revenue compared to, I guess we have EV type of stuff here. We've got electronic vehicle mainly based. We've even got a little bit of energy rare earth charging. But he goes into the PE ratios, EBITDAs, the revenues, future growth revenues, pro forma enterprise value. Does this always end up with a stock that's going to make us more money? No, not really at all. Maybe slightly. What percent? Can we figure out the percent on it? I'm sure we could. If I had to say, maybe because of Tesla right here, 5%? I don't know, 20%? 15% that it matters? If you want to come take a look at this, this is on my site. It's fantastic if you really want to dive into the numbers, but do PE ratios actually even matter anymore? Let's totally be honest with ourselves. Or is it me, or is a lot of these SPACs especially, and stocks all around that are running, it has nothing to do with that at all. It's just about hype. Doesn't it always seem like sometimes all the ones we think technically should do better than the other one, they never do? Why is that? Do you think it's because people are getting better buys and everyone's coming together to push that one that's still cheap, riding the coattails of other ones? I think it could be something like that. Can you tell me why PIC ticker is doing so well? Is PIC doing better than Lion right now? Why? Can someone answer that? 100% rumor, not 100% true. What we're going to take a look at here is GIK. This is pure speculation, but it is a rumor that they're going to pick up Lightning E-motors. All right, why are we bringing this up? We're going to actually take a look and use StockTwits. We've talked about them a bunch, and I make fun of them a lot, but the reality is there are some gold nuggets in there. There's very slight ones, but the big thing you can find there is data. A lot of people pay a lot of money for data. It's how places like Robinhood make most of their money. Do you believe that? What if we can get data for free? We do. We get lots of data for free. We should use it, right? I ranked the top EV SPACs from the amount of followers you can see in the top right corner here. I also linked to all their profiles, so if you want to come down in the description, you can come and follow along, or after we're done with this, you can come take a look yourself and maybe do some math and try to figure out who and why and what will be the next runner and why for you. GIK has 4,380 called followers there, watchers on there. Now, this hasn't even officially announced yet. But what they're also showing you here is message volume for the current day and how much that's up or down, price, sentiment. This is great. Time frame, but it's also showing you down here, it's actually showing you some open to interest too. A little bit of volume. It's showing you volume, 1.27 million of volume. But this is something that we should start at least roughly calculating in our head. How many people are following it? What's the price? Why isn't it more? Why isn't it less? Or why is it so much? If we're thinking, why is it so much? It might be time to get out. But use these metrics. Cool factor. This is what we're following here, is cool factor. Right? This is the growth thing we talk about. Growth. How about NGA Lion coming in at number 2? Northern Genesis acquisition. They've got 9,846 watchers, but they're sitting at $15.38. To me, this seems like one of these ones that should be running a little bit hotter. But as you can see, this is only number 2 for people watching it. It's not cool factored enough yet. How about RMG? I've talked about them, done a couple videos, how they're working with even the workhorse SPS vans they're helping make the batteries for, and actually even Lion. Actually hooked up with Lion also. Well, they've got 10,392 followers, and they're trading at a little bit more than the last guy, $18.92. Seen a correlation yet? How about let's move on to THCB. This is gonna be the Microvast, the big China battery play, right? This thing has got 12,334 watchers, trading at 1720. Now, this has technically got a worse ratio than this last one, but to be fair, RMG we got to use time also in this math equation that you're using. You've got to take a look at the fact that RMG has been around for a lot longer time versus Tuscan Holdings too. So it does and can take a lot of time for people to jump on and hear about it. Because again, most of these SPAC plays, most retail investors have no idea what a SPAC is still. Do you believe that? They still, even though they've been pumping it on the news and all that, there's still most retail investors have no idea what a SPAC is. It's going to get more and more popular, which is going to give us even more and more money because we're always getting it before it's cool, right? Before they're already $19 or $20, but it's something to pay attention to. From then we're looking at Hennessy Capital, HCAC, 12,340, sitting at $20. Finally. Anyone buy this with me back in the 10s when it wasn't cool? Move on from there. CIIC. Absolute monster this thing has been. Now, this thing too is, I will call it one of those unicorns, right? I mean, could you find a better SPAC target? I don't know. It's up there. It's definitely up there. 12,000, let's just call it 13,000 watchers, but it's trading at $31.90. PIC. This is trading at $17.18. 15,000 watchers. A lot of watchers. This thing could still run a little bit. Don't you think? Using the ratios. But should it? When and how do we calculate the value investor in this? We got to figure out what percent the value investor is in all these. Or do value investors don't touch SPACs? Or do the value investors play SPACs but only up to like 11 or 12 and they get out and move on to the next one? That's what I think they do. I don't think many value investors stay past 11, stay past 12. So can we put a number on it? Like, let's say anything past 12, it's no longer the value people. It's either going to be a cool factor or not. Something to think about. How about SBE, Switchback Energy? 20,500 watchers. It's sitting at $43. See where we're going with this? How about these already runners, post-ticker change electric vehicles, VLDR, Velodyne LiDAR? This thing is just one of those ones that, didn't ever get enough cool hype to it, but I think a lot of it was the company's fault, as always. Remember the CIIC, we've talked about this before, how they played the SPAC game almost perfectly. They're hitting videos like daily, bi-daily, tri-daily, 3 times a day on their social media, hitting Velodyne LiDAR. Do you even know, does anyone know who the CEO of this is, VLDR? Do you even know what the guy looks like? Have you ever seen an interview with him? I bet most of you are like, that's good. No. This thing should be a little bit higher, but it's not. Why? It's not cool. No one has made it cool enough yet. Laser, getting cool. How many out there know who this guy is? How many out there know what the face of this CEO looks like? Do you realize how much newer this thing is compared to VLDR? What, like 5-6 months? But yeah, everyone knows who this guy is, but nobody knows who this is. But yeah, look at where this is at. This hit over 40, 42. Also got Alex Gores in here. QS, QuantumScape. Absolutely unbelievable. What can you guys tell me about this? First thing I think of when I think of QuantumScape, it's not batteries, it's not EV, it's Bill Gates. See where I'm getting at? Cool factor. And again, we're stair-stepping up to watchers. Now we're up to 17,000. The next one here has gotten a lot of watchers and a lot of love. Lordstown, right? Let's call it 25,000 watchers. This has been up to 32. It's staying. You know, it's at 1920. This could still even go up. Is it good to get in now? Not really. It's kind of too late, man. If you ask me, in this market, it might be a little bit too late. As hard as it is not to FOMO right now because people are just having a heyday with these, if you just go back to basic on SPACs and only buy commons under 13 or 13 below, imagine if you just stayed in this. Imagine if you stayed in this. Imagine if you stayed in that. This. Remember, these are all post. Yeah. What do you think? We're going to move on to Hyliion. Same thing. Helion. This is a perfect example of what SPACs can and can't do, and why it's definitely important to take profits. This thing has got 35,000 watchers, tons of people loving it, climbed all the way past $50. Do you realize there's people buying this gap up here at like 52? Who was that? Don't be that guy. You know, don't be that guy. Guy or girl, just don't do it. Where's it sitting at now? It looks like a good time to buy just looking at this chart. This line right here looks healthy, 1794. Probably a decent time to buy this one if you're long this company. If you want to still be safe, don't buy it. Still could definitely go down. It's not a SPAC anymore, right? Regardless, look at the amount of watchers. Fisker, 47,000. Okay. This thing actually only went to, let's call it like 25 or something like that. This is one to keep in mind, though, that maybe some of the value investors were and are in this, and maybe were and are in all the ones up there. Because the fight with this is one of those ones that, dude, they're not going to have, he doesn't even know when this thing is coming out. We're saying maybe 2 or 3 years from now. We don't know that. He still hasn't even announced the batteries yet, right? If you don't even know where you're getting your batteries from, how are you going to give a timeline? Right? So that could be playing into it, or it could just be that sketchiness that the reason I'm out is because I lost faith in Fisker when he was name dropping Volkswagen and then couldn't deliver Volkswagen. Completely lost faith in him. I like the guy. I want to hang out with him, but I ain't invested in Fisker. Okay. Nikola, of course. At $64, 78,000 watchers. Absolutely unbelievable. So what is hyping as of today? Not much right now as far as EVs go. On StockTwits, though, THCB, we're talking about that up there, that is ranked number 3 for hype train on StockTwits today, which is pretty darn big. It's pretty darn high. This isn't EV. I want to keep this EV centric, but GHIV, which is also his SPAC, 5, right, ranked 5th, and they're still sitting pretty low. Can you believe that more people are talking about GHIV today on StockTwits than Tesla or AI or Adobe? It's pretty incredible. That many people are knowing about it. Got more data here. This is just something, to keep looking in mind. Pay attention to this stuff. We go over this a lot. Even Fidelity, they come out with good numbers and stuff. Rocket Mortgage, though, is starting to hype. Sometimes it starts bubbling, and you can see it fighting on the charts we talk about, getting ready to moon. It's usually when you see them starting to hype and it starts getting everywhere. Usually about a week and a half after that is when it finally, bam, goes this next leg up. Just watch it, pay attention. So how do we play this? This is where you need to come in and make a playbook for yourself, right? I talk about trading like a robot. Try to use this picture I'm trying to paint here to help create your robot for trading. You got to train that robot how to trade. Use this too. Just do it. Just look at the charts. You could be that guy that just buys anything that's EV. Just do that. Electronic vehicle. If electronic vehicle SPAC comes out or anything related to electronic, just buy it. I mean, come on. Why not? What do you got to lose if it's a SPAC? You know, anything that might be EV related, you can just buy the stock. People are doing it. You know, there's a rumor going on about GXGX tonight. Last like 3 hours of the day, the stock went crazy. It went up like 10, 20%. And there was like I couldn't find any articles, nothing legit at all, just a random dude on Twitter who ended up deleting it later. Yeah. You can play that too. But you got to come up with the game plan again for how long are you going to hold it? Does time matter? Or does money matter? What I'm getting at is, do you want to sell it in exactly 2 months, like institutions try to do? Or do you want to maybe do it some like other investors that do it at 1%? Maybe say at 20%, take 20% out. At 50%, take 50% out. At 80%, take 80%, something like that. Come up with a game plan. Or you could come up with a random number you just like. Once it hits $23.14, I'm 95% out. Just make a game plan. That's all I'm getting at. If you don't ring that cash register and have a game plan, what usually happens? I'll show you what happens. Right here. This is a good one. THCB. You might buy in, let's say right when this is when people are still talking about it's going crazy, you know, as it hit like 1550, and then it's going to go back down. And then it's going to start another leg down, and you get scared and you sell. You're not trading like a robot. And then it's going to start going in here, and you get impatient. You know, you just got to watch it. Come up with an exact game plan of how you're going to do it, and just trade by it. Set the money, set your stop loss, protect yourself. We've probably got another week and a half until stuff starts getting even more rocky. Just ring the cash register, get in, get out, take your money, let's go. And never, ever feel bad for not fully riding a wave. As long as you ended with green. If you ended with green on even HCAC and, you know, maybe you sold it, even if you sold it right here, what, 12.75 and you started with me at 10, that's still fantastic. Because as long as you keep in that habit, you create those good habits, you're always going to be green. You're always going to be compounding green. That's how you add it up, not trying to find the tops. Finding the tops, you're going to end up like the Nikola bros. Where are we at with Nikola? Let's just look at right here. You know, you're going to be sitting around here thinking you're going to sell down 30, and then it went all the way down to 12. Lost 2 extra money. Just protect yourself. Come up with your own formula. Do you guys have a formula that you use just on hype? Has anyone been using this? Just wait until something hits Wall Street bets on Reddit and then buy? That could be a way to do it too. I've tested this a little bit. And if I'm ever on the fence, you can even use it like this. If you're ever on the fence about, okay, I want to put money in this sector, let's call it electronic vehicles. I can't decide between these 5 companies. I will narrow it down to 2 or 3 and then look at volume and say, okay, which ones have the most volume and the most amount they can go up, and I'll just buy those. Use math. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do it. It definitely helps out. We also have a Patreon where I send you all information throughout the day, answer some questions here and there when I can, have time. And please share this video with your friends. That definitely helps out. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. I think we'll be able to hit it by the end of next month, I'll say for sure. And at that point, that's when I'll be giving away that really sweet silver Anouk Egyptian coin. So please share this with your friends. Y'all have a good night and take care.
Did you know that we give away free silver? Simply leave a comment on the video, and as long as you're in the continental United States, you can be automatically entered to win. Please friend us on Twitter and StockTwits.